Baetis is a genus of mayflies of the family that includes blue-winged olives. There are 150 species of Baetis, and they are distributed worldwide, with the largest variety in North America and Northern Europe. They can come in a variety of sizes, but the most common on waters in the United States seem to range from size 16 down to 22, and sometimes smaller, sometimes a lot smaller, in fact. For imitating Baetis in the size 16 to 20 range, my go-to pattern is the Baetis Emerger Cripple Fly. Whether I'm fishing a stocked or wild trout stream, faster or slower water, this one works extremely well for me. I'll fish these patterns on top as well as in the film. To tie this pattern, I'm using a size 16 standard dry fly hook, such as this Model 2 from a wholesale fly company. The down eye, I prefer that rather than a straight eye because we're going to put a lot of materials on this hook, and especially near the eye. So the down eye is going to be a little bit easier to thread your tippet through that eye of the hook, as you'll see here in just a minute. I'm going to start with some Semperfli 12/0 classic wax thread. I do like the Semperfli because it does seem to have a little higher breaking strength than other 12/0 threads. And we're going to start by attaching our thread to the hook shank. I'm going to take that back to about even with the barb of the hook. Next, we're going to use pheasant tail for the tail and body of this pattern, and we're just going to strip off about 3 or 4 fibers of the pheasant tail. I'm going to tie those in so that they are approximately 1 1/4 hook gaps in length. And for a rib, because I do like a rib with this one, we use ultra wire, extra small copper. This pattern, fish love this pattern, and you know, if you're catching a lot of browns especially, they have a little bit more toothy mouths. They will chew up this pattern pretty good, and I found that the copper wire just helps make it a little bit more durable. Again, we're going to strip off about 3 or 4 fibers of pheasant tail for the body, tie those in by the tips, and the tips are real thin and fragile, so it's got to be very delicate with them. And we're going to wrap those toward the eye of the hook, up that shank to about a little bit past halfway, and we're going to secure them. And we're going to counter wrap with our ribbing wire. And again, this is just for durability. You can skip this part if you like, but in my experience, it does make a little bit of a difference. So, okay, next we're going to use some blue-winged olive dry fly dubbing. This is just super fine dry fly dubbing. It would create just a little bit of a thorax there. I'm going to take that right over that junction of the pheasant tail. Alright, for the crippled wing, we're going to use elk body hair, and I'm just going to cut off a little piece there, about 1/4 of a pencil in thickness. And I'm going to put that in our hair stacker. Okay, and as I pull it out of my hair stacker, see the tips are mostly aligned. You can pull out any stray hairs if you like. And we're going to tie this so that it is about 1 hook gap in length over the eye of that hook. I'm going to put enough thread there just to create a little pad for our hackle. Pull this up a little bit, get a couple wraps in front. And for now, I'm just going to leave that long like that. Okay, now we're going to use, I have a dry neck chunks here from Hairline. These are great if you don't tie a lot of patterns in these specific colors. They're very reasonably priced, so you can get a variety of colors. without having to invest a ton of money in all the different dry fly hackles. And they work really well. They're durable feathers, very high quality. I have no complaints about them at all. And now I'm going to choose a hackle feather that is going to be just a little bit beyond the point of the hook. I'm going to trim off the fuzzy ends there. Pull a few fibers off so I can have something to attach. Okay, now I'm gonna wrap this about probably 4 or 5 turns. Doesn't have to be many. And I'm gonna pull everything back before I even trim that hackle. Make a couple securing wraps in front of that elk hair. And I'll go back and trim the hackle. Again, before anything else, I'm gonna throw a half hitch in there just to kind of hold everything together. I'll get my wet finisher. Trim my wing pad here, about halfway down the body. And there you go, the Baetis Emerger Cripple Fly. This is one of my go-to patterns, and I tie this down to a size 20, sometimes 22 even. And the only difference is that the smaller I go, the more sparse I am with the materials that I use to tie it. So, like for instance, this elk wing pad, I'm going to use even half the amount of elk hair for that as I did on this size 16. Tie a bunch of these up in a variety of sizes, and they will catch fish for you during those situations when trout are feeding on Baetis, other midges. Fish it on top in the film, it just flat out catches fish. Catch you next time.